You're entering Corsi Nation.
Dr. Jerome Corsi today. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025. You can see my bookcases behind me are empty. I'm beginning to move out. As I've told you, and given the story that after the Mueller investigation wanted to put me in prison, and I refused to take their plea deal. I closed the Mueller investigation, but I've gone through years of hell. And my wife supported me through the hardest part, but then had an affair and decided she was going to divorce me. And so therefore she couldn't handle the politics. She wanted me to retire, decided she'd have a affair with the husband of her cousin who died in the house here. We brought her from Argentina, and she had double mastectomy and 3 open heart surgeries, and Monica decided to have an affair with Claudia's husband. So now it's a 32-year marriage is dissolved, and I'm moving out. I'll be relocating and reestablishing a new program here, probably in a few weeks. But bear with me. I've lived here for 35 years in New Jersey, and so you can imagine there's a lot of stuff accumulated. A lot of books, a lot of work that I've done, file cabinets full of materials, and a lot just to move. So bear with me. We'll be doing it, and we'll be starting a new chapter, which I'm looking forward to. I don't hate her. I think it was a foolish move. Divorce is always destructive, and I had planned to live the rest of my life with her, so therefore that plan doesn't exist anymore. At any rate, I've done a lot in terms of the politics over the last 25 years, and God willing, we'll continue to do some more. As we get into the politics today, the big news story today is that we're finally getting some movement on the election integrity. Harmet Dillon, who kind of woke up, I guess, decided, well, she's been at it in the background, but they're now suing 6 states over the voter roll access. What they're finding, of course, is the Democratic voter rolls are filled with people who don't exist, who are dead, who are duplicate voters. I don't think that this is just the first round. This is kind of a campaign that President Trump is going to put into place between now and the election, the midterm election in 2026. Can't do it all at one time because the country couldn't handle the massive amount of fraud that there's been, and it's going to have to be dealt with in pieces. The first piece is to say these voter rolls that the states have, especially the blue states like California, New York, are just ridiculous. They are filled with voters that don't exist, with dead voters, with duplicate voters. The algorithms in these state Board of Election databases allow these votes to be created. They get legitimate state IDs, even though the voters don't exist. And the Democrats learn how to vote them in mail-in ballot schemes. The story today is that the Democratic Party can only exist if it cheats, lies, steals. It is based on utilizing federal money and criminal money in order to fund its leftist Destroy America agenda. And the American public, I think, is finally realizing the Democratic Party is not just a communist party, it's a communist Muslim party that hates America and is aiming to destroy America by a massive invasion of foreigners, particularly now Muslims, who have no intention of assimilating to our economy or our way of life or our culture, want to destroy it, don't believe in God or Jesus Christ, believe in Allah, and that's their God, and don't believe that they need to assimilate or to become cultured in any society in which they inhabit. And given the work culture of Islam, which is pretty much non-existent. The men do not particularly work. They're brutal to the women, and the society is one that is dysfunctional. Sharia law punishes little girls, sexually mutilates them so they can't have orgasms and be a threat to men. The whole religion needs to undergo a fundamental reformation, as all other religions have gone through. But what we're facing right now, and if you put together the news that's coming out right now, you're seeing how Donald Trump is exposing the Democratic Party for its corruption. Okay, so these states with the voter rolls, and there is a statement here by Dylan, which I think we might play a little bit of. Chris, I'll give it to you here in the chat, and we can play just a little bit of this statement. But she is, it's a first step. It's not going to solve the problem, but it's a first step. And this was a statement that she was giving yesterday on Real America's Voice. When you get it queued up, Chris, just let me know. Let's go ahead and play it, and then we're going to comment on it. But it's the beginning of a recognition that our voting system in the United States is broken beyond repair. We're going to have new rules. We're going to have voter ID. We're going to have no illegals voting. We have to end this massive mail-in voting scheme that the Democrats run. The Democrats continue to run elections. They will only cheat, steal, and lie. If we get legitimate elections, the Democrats will have probably half the seats in Congress that they have, if that many. Okay, but they're indoctrinated the young to be Marxists, to support Islam, to support Hamas, to hate Israel. We have a generation coming up that has been put through college, given an education that will not help them earn a living, will only help them destroy America. That was the goal. Let's hear what Harmon Dillon has to say. Go ahead, Chris.
Big news in the last 24 hours, the most popular story on Just the News for most of the day today. You and the Justice Department sued 6 blue states for not turning over their voter rolls, so you can inspect them, make sure that they're not being that they're not out of date, that dead people and non-citizens aren't making it onto the rolls. I have a funny feeling you're not done yet. Tell us where you are in the process.
Not even close. Well, John, I really appreciate you continuously allowing me to come on and update the public, because I know there's a lot of frustration out there about, why isn't someone doing something? I'll have you know that the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has sent letters to all 50 states, and we have actually actively engaged with over half of them as follows. We're now in litigation with 14 states. So the 6 yesterday included Maryland, Delaware, Rhode Island, New Mexico, Washington State, and Vermont. That adds to 8 we already had going. We are close to reaching resolution, voluntary cooperation with another dozen states, and I won't say which those are, but I think we will definitely let the public know when that happens. We have voluntary cooperation from 4 states, and we reached a settlement and consent decree with the state of North Carolina that agreed to clean up over 100,000 people on the voter rolls that were there improperly. And so that's over half the states, John, that we're actively engaged in either litigation or settlements with. And so it's really good news for America, and we're going to march through and make sure that we reach a resolution.
Okay, stop it right there. So they're cleaning up the rolls, which does not clean up the problem. The problem is, how did the rolls get to this point? And the Democrats still have the algorithms in the database where they can just go back and do it all over again. Nothing will have happened. This will just be a feel good, oh, look at, we've cleaned it all up, no problem anymore, don't worry about it. If we don't get rule changes such that you have to have a voter ID, that you have to be a citizen to vote, if we don't get this kind of change, this exercise is just completely a cover up again. You feel good. Oh, you look at, we really put it to the states. We've gotten rid of all the dead people. Yeah, well, they get more dead people than you can imagine. And being globalists, they're happy to produce dead people everywhere. So therefore, let's smarten up here. and let's get the real job done, not just an attempt to make everybody feel good because the Department of Justice is finally doing something. Pam Blondie, thank you very much. And this whole Department of Justice had better get rid of the people in it who are still resisting it. We still have far too many people in the Justice Department who are resisting the mega agenda, and will continue to do so. I think we're going to see a re-indictment of Comey and Brennan and others. They're not going to escape by getting some leftist judge to say that there was a problem with the indictment. This Department of Justice is going to have to produce indictments against those who conducted the Russian coup d'etat hoax, the Russian collusion coup d'etat hoax against Donald Trump. Because again, you've got people within the Department of Justice who are using Justice Department rules to do a coup d'etat, remove a legitimately elected president from the office. And we can't tolerate this. So we're dealing with a massive systemic problem. Now, the other stories here that I want, and then Chris, I want you to comment, is that we also are seeing today that we're finally getting not only the first push on voter integrity, and it's just the beginning. I think Donald Trump is determined to get rid of the things that are systemically wrong with our voting. The Democrats have built in order to cheat and steal. So the new revelations show that the Biden regime allowed the Taliban Afghans to come to the United States and invade America. And John Solomon's pointing out this story as well. At the same time that we have the Somalis in Minneapolis and Minnesota conducting $1 billion fraud scheme. Thank you, with Waltz, the former Democratic Party vice presidential candidate with Kamala Harris. So the Democrats opened the border with Mexico in 2014, with Honduras. And by the way, Trump just pardoned the president of Honduras, who's been in prison because he was a member of the Sinaloa drug cartel. And the purpose of the Democrats was to get the illegal activity going on the border with the child sex trade, the child organ harvesting, which is a very profitable business, much more so than drugs. Get the Sinaloa drug cartel coming in, and then getting fentanyl from China, because we had lots of deals going with China between Obama, Biden, and China, and the Vatican. And the money went into the banking system with massive banking fraud in the trillions of dollars that the Democrats siphoned off in order to put into their funnels like Act Blue. The Democrats took illegal money, criminal activity, drugs, child prostitution, child pornography, child organ harvesting and killing the children in order to advance their anti-God agenda of destroying America. And the money was taken out of the banking system through mortgage fraud, which we've reported on extensively from Act Blue. And if you want to see the full extent of the problem, go to gods5stones.com, and you can see there the reporting we've been doing on Act Blue, in addition to the voter fraud. These are major issues. The Democratic Party has become a completely anti-American party. And we can't tolerate a party that is going to act to promote political corruption, to promote stolen elections, to promote stealing public money to run anti-American political campaigns, to be a criminal party that is conducting spiritual warfare, aiming to destroy the nuclear family, destroy God, destroy our traditional values, and put in judges in place who free criminals, illegal alien criminals, who go out after 3 or 4 times they've been released and they continue to commit crimes, and nothing happens. The American people are tired of it, and Donald Trump is beginning to put it in the military, putting in the military in order to correct the problem in the cities. Now we've got Mondami coming on. The Democrats seem perfectly happy to be running Marxist, communist Muslims. And that if the Democratic Party is a Marxist, communist, Muslim, post-Marxism, cultural Maoist, anarchistic party supporting Antifa, we don't need the Democratic Party. And please contribute to God's Five Stones. That's God's, G-O-D, no apostrophe on the S. Spell out the word five, F-I-V-E, and stones is plural, gods5stones.com. Chris, do you want to comment on this?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that because little known, obviously we know what happened in New York City and Seattle with the socialists there. We're seeing mayors who of blue cities who aren't woke enough being challenged by socialist candidates. Karen Bass is being challenged in a primary. You almost saw the coffin kisser in Minneapolis lose to Omar Fateh. In Jersey City, 2 city council members who are self-proclaimed socialists, and they've also been elected to council. This is an interesting movement within blue cities.
Well, the Democratic Party just doesn't deserve to exist. Right. This is not all they do is champion evil. They hate white males. They want to have a race war. They want to have a civil war. They want to support Islam. They want to support, Muslims all around the world. They want to support the destruction of American universities. They want to promote DEI and ESG and BS all over the place.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The plan is, though, they're actually convincing a large number of people to go along with this. This is, and you've talked about this before, it's a generational thing. The Republicans or the people on the right, the anti-globalist types, well, they've dropped the ball. The left has found its way to gradually insert itself and then grab control of culture because these are things we ignore. People on our side are working and doing, trying to do other things here. They're trying to raise their families. While people aren't looking, the Marxists took over.
Well, now, the Democrats are trying to protect the Venezuelans coming in with drugs, and they want to say, well, we can't kill these people.
Well, Rachel Maddow was crying about that the other day on Ms. Now. I guess that's what it's called now, right?
Ms. Now, yeah.
Yeah, MS No One's Watching.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing. We had the Democrats have found themselves, and if you go down the line here, they found themselves defending inflation, hyperinflation. They found themselves defending war. They found themselves defending
mother rapers, father rapers, criminals,
yes,
drug dealers,
gang members, right, pedophiles.
Pedophiles,
right?
Freaks.
Right. I mean, think about this. They're screaming about the Epstein files when Trump calls them out on it. I haven't heard a peep from them since.
Because they're involved in it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, Larry Summers hightailed it out of the country faster than Maduro was able to. So, well, not out of the country, out of
Maduro's still in that.
And
Trump is saying next comes land strikes in Venezuela. We might as well go in there and
right.
Because why allow these countries, and the cartels are running Mexico. Cartels, and by the way, don't stop there. Let's clean out the CIA, which is also running the drug trade. Let's clean out the banks, which are doing the money laundering. Yeah, and Mark Victor Hansen, I think, has got a good article out saying that essentially, finally, the whole idea of climate change hoax is dead, and people have finally realized that that's got nowhere to go. Okay, so the whole idea that Minnesota taxpayers get fleeced out of $100 billion that supports Minnesota criminals and Somali criminals, and Waltz is at the center of it. Minnesota Governor Tim Waltz, who allowed the state's massive COVID era, fraud scandal to fester. He thought political favor for the state's largest Somali community. Okay, they're just these people are on the wrong side of history, and they're on the destructive side of history. just put up for a minute, Chris, the title. I want people to see again the book, the truth about neo-Marxism, cultural Maoism, and anarchy. That this is a war on truth. That we're living in an era where the Democrats they want to pervert the language so that evil is truth. Evil is good. And you've got to convince children that they're in the wrong body, that they're a different sex. You got to give them, sex change, hormones. All these things you're doing with the children are destructive. Okay, so we're in a situation where the globalists want to kill off generations. There's stories now about how we are worldwide not having enough reproduction to maintain population. We'll be having declining population in the future years, which is what the globalists want. Too many people, kill them off. Can't do it one way, do it another way. And we're finding that the destructive, demonic nature of this Democratic Party is fundamentally evil. But they've got so much money they can corrupt the Republicans very easily. How much money, millions it take for Mitch McConnell and his Chinese wife to be favorable to China. Her family's billions of dollars or wealthy in China. And if Mitch McConnell didn't do what China liked, all those people would have been killed. Okay, so China plays rough, and blackmail is their game. They go around the world buying politicians, and we do nothing about it. Okay, but it's finally reaching a point where I think the American people are seeing the massive corruption. And if Devin Newsom is going to be the candidate of the Democrats for president in 2028, it's going to be another Kamala Harris shit show. Excuse me, but
the problem with Gavin Newsom, we cannot put aside the fact that this guy is dangerous. And only because he will, not just because he'll lie or say whatever he wants to get to get into office, but think about this, Dr. Corsi. Every time the Democrats win, it's behind a pretty well-spoken package.
Oh yeah, they picked their candidate, Obama, hip hop,
right?
And
pretty. Women think he's pretty. I mean, the liberal white women think he's pretty, and they like that.
Yeah, they're picking candidates that pass the sex test and appeal to the young voters as with it.
Yeah,
with their cell phones and their Obama, I love Obama girls.
That's Gavin Newsom right now, and that's how he's playing himself right now. That's how the media is going to be portraying him. That's how the DNC is going to be portraying him. I mean, you couldn't polish a what when it came to Kamala Harris, but they tried. This will be rather easy when it comes to a handsome guy like Gavin Newsom, and this is basically these elections have generally, for the most part, become student council president elections.
Yeah, right.
So
who's the head of the football team?
Right, or who's the handsome guy, and that's where Gavin Newsom is dangerous.
Okay, let's switch gears. Gold today is holding at $4,213 an ounce. Silver's at $57.60 an ounce. You've got to take a look at Swiss America. Silver is the play. Silver is going to appreciate at a faster rate because it's going to double quicker than gold will double. And if you put $100 into silver and it goes quicker to $200, it's a lot better than putting $100 into gold and waiting for it to go to $8,000 an ounce from $4,000 an ounce. It'll get there, but it's going to take it longer. And this Walking Liberty $50 offer from Swiss America is a real gem. It's one of the best offers in the business. It's not saying, we'll give you silver certificates and we'll give you this and that. No, you can buy real silver at the virtual cost of the silver in these Walking Liberty $50 coins and hold on to them and begin to appreciate the value of metals investing. The stock market today, again, is not reliable. It's gotten too inflated, and it could easily crash. Get a copy of this free book, How the Coming Global Crash is going to Create a Historic Gold Rush. And I'm going to give you the 1-800 number, the tax-free number where you can get it. I'll get a copy of this book simply by calling Swiss America and talking to them. Okay, so it's 1-800, coming up here on the screen right now. Call toll-free, 1-800-519-6268. 1-800-519-6268. Get a copy of this book. I think you'll do yourself a favor to educate yourself that we're going into a fundamentally different world in which gold and silver are going to again rule, and the dollar is going to lose its position dramatically. Our national debt is unsustainable, and we have no way to contain it unless we can get some of the national debt off the balance sheet paid for in cryptocurrency. And unfortunately, cryptocurrency has taken a huge loss. People have suffered losses of billions of dollars because crypto is, again, a very volatile new idea. It's going to take quite a while before it becomes stabilized or regulated in a way that it is reliable. But the dollar dominance since World War II is pretty well finished. And the sooner you understand that, the better. Read this book. If you want to begin to understand what the BRICS nations are doing, what the world is doing, going back to gold and silver, and how we're stuck with this massive debt the Democrats have caused us to create in their determination to destroy America economically. 1-800-519-6268. Call and talk to Swiss America today. Okay, now the Russian talks have stalled largely because the Ukraine defense, with the United States pulling out. And this is the thing, if Trump just says no more money, no more weapons, I'm tired of this war, it won't take Russia very long to take Kiev, or certainly all the Donbass that Russia wants. And we better realize that it was a war that we provoked. It's not a war. All the narrative of this war that you've been given by the mainstream media is a lie. That that the Ukrainians are freedom fighters. No, Zelensky's a criminal. He's done more to enrich himself and to enrich his buddies than by stealing money again, taking money. The Democrats and their buddies are very good at getting money spent by the government of the United States and stealing it. It doesn't go to the purposes for which they claim. That's why U.S. aid had to be shut down. Money has been funding Democratic causes to destroy America and to fight God. And we need to stop funding those activities. We need to put these people in prison for their mortgage fraud, which is the main way the Democrats have taken money out of the banking system. The banks and the CIA need to be investigated as thoroughly as the voting systems, and they're going to take fundamental fixes, like shut down the CIA, like shut down the state boards of elections controlled by Democrats. Democrats will only find a new way to cheat, lie, and steal, and then deny it and blame the Republicans for the messes that they create. Okay, so Putin basically is saying that, why make concessions right now? He's winning, and Ukraine has nothing to stop him. And I think Trump has figured out that us just putting more money in there is just putting more money into more people dying and more corruption being funded, and stop it. We're not going to take back the territory that Russia has in Ukraine without a nuclear war. And those people that Russia has taken in the territory speak predominantly Russian and have had a Russian culture going back 1,000 years. Putin's been trying to point this out even in interviews with Tucker Carlson. And I have books here documenting. Of course, the books are being packed, so I can't pull them anymore. My entire library is in boxes. So you're going to have to, we're all going to have to put up with a period of time here where I'm in disarray, rearranging my life in a new setting that fundamentally changes what has been my past 35 years living in this house and in a marriage which is now dissolved. Okay, so as we move forward, we're going to create, I believe, an investigation more intensely with God's 5 stones into these issues of corruption. And the fact is that the European Union, the UK, are moving increasingly towards censorship. We will do that here too. If the Democrats win again, we'll go right into censorship. And in fact, if we don't get control of the universities will produce nothing but a generation of revolutionaries. So Macron wants a ministry of truth. Yeah, well, Macron can take that ministry of truth and shove it where the sun doesn't shine, because all he wants to do is suppress anybody who doesn't agree with his globalist views. And the EU, I think, is about ready to collapse. The EU is an outmoded organization that demonstrates the corruption that occurs when you allow unelected bureaucrats to run the government and utilize the money for their own purposes. We've had nothing but, since Clinton, governments determined to destroy America. And the GOP has been no better with George W. Bush and his Security and Prosperity Partnership in North America, the North American Union, the AMERO, all the efforts they were making to do globalism. And nothing better with Obama. Told Medvedev, in my second term, I'll have more flexibility. What's that mean? It means Obama was the one colluding with Russia. Let's wake up, people. Obama was the one colluding with Russia, not Trump. And the idea that China has had all the gains it's had, including wanting to get this Mexican, the port in Chile, which I continue to say is a tragedy if we don't get this Copia Port E developed by the United States government. We're just beginning to see the depth of depravity the Democratic Party went into in order to align with Satan, which essentially it's done, to destroy God, kill babies, mutilate children sexually, and advance an agenda that supports radical Islamic Marxism or cultural Maoism, turning us into anarchy with Antifa. It's a pretty clear story once you get the picture. And in the end, God always wins. God will win here too. All these things are difficult and have to be fought. But I look at what's going on in my life as God has taken my wife out of my life in order to put me back to work. And if that's what was required, so be it. But we've got a lot more to do here. And if we can expose the fact that we've been living in a Truman Show where we've been lied to about 9/11, Kennedy assassination, Pearl Harbor, you name it. The government lies, and a lying government has no legitimacy. Dr. Jerome Corsi, please join me in spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14. We've got to get on our knees and ask God to forgive us for letting the country get to this point. God will hear our prayer and he will heal our land. But we have to return to God, understanding that those who want to make this place a utopia are only intending to kill us, because this place is never going to be utopia. It was never intended to be. And those who believe it is will align with Satan in the Garden of Eden, lying to Adam and Eve. Dr. Jerome Corsi, thank you for joining us. It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. We'll be back every weekday with podcasts. Thank you. God bless.